Hi, 7th grade. Today we're doing Thursday's lesson, and that is lesson 4.4 on page 78, which is expected value. Expected value is similar to finding an average, but it's a new concept because it deals with probability, and we'll be talking about that today. Your gotta check is going to be on page 79, B1, and we're going to be doing the 60% free throw chart for the gotta check. Your homework today is page 86, numbers 20 and 21, and your bell ringer and 3 sentences are on page 91, number 40. Okay, let's get started. So, first of all, before we even get started with the lesson, I've drawn out the chart. So this is on page 79 in your book. And what you'll see is there's a free throw percentage chart. So we're going to be doing an example in class of a 20% free throw shooter. And then your got it check, so your got it check right over here is going to be the 60% free throw shooter. And remember, the 60% free throw shooter was the character from yesterday's example, Nishi. So remember, we found out what her percentages were yesterday, but what we didn't find out about her was how many points is she expected to make in a game. We found that 0 points was most likely, but not necessarily what was expected. So today we're going to do that in your got it check. All right, first of all, let's talk about what expected value is. So when we talked about the free throw situation yesterday, even though 0 points was the most likely score that she could get, what we could see is her other free throw percentages, those percentages added up to be more than 50%. So most of the time she made either 1 or 2 points. And this is a calculation that they actually use in sports. Based on your free throw percentage, how many points can they actually expect you to make at a free throw line in a certain situation? It's an important concept because it kind of ranks players on how good they are at free throws. So this is a real statistic. It's something that if you were a statistician at a basketball game, you'd actually use and put together for players. So our definition today is expected value. And expected value is the average number of points in a probability situation. So it is the average of the outcomes in a probability situation or a probability model. And most of the time, expected value works with percentages. So it uses percentages. And what that means is when we're doing an average, it means that we're going to be using out of 100 attempts. Okay, so that's important. So when we do an average, okay, typically an average is the sum of all the potential outcomes. So it would be the sum of all your values. And then you usually divide by the total number, okay, however many values you had. In this case, since we're working with percentages or we're working out of 100, okay, we're still going to be summing up our total, okay, but our total is going to be out of 100. So that number that we're going to be dividing by is always going to be 100 today. Okay? All right. So let's take a look at a 20% free throw shooter. Okay? So I'm going to draw kind of a basic 10 by 10 grid. So I'm going to assume that this is a 10 by 10 grid over here. Okay? If you want to draw your own 10 by 10 grid, pause the video and you should draw it now. Okay. If our person's a 20% free throw shooter, they're not making many free throws. In fact, they are missing 80% of the time. Okay, so 80% of the time, I could expect her to get 0 points. Okay, then, okay, she's also, even if she makes that shot out of this little tiny 20% here, okay, she's not going to make it very often. Most of the time, she's going to miss. And maybe I'll make this line a little bit bigger, okay? But when we draw in our grid, okay, she will get 1 point, only that first one. She'll miss the second shot, so 16% of the time, and then only a measly little 4% of the time will she actually make it. So I'm going to fill in my chart here. So she'll get 1 point 16% of the time, and she'll get 2 points 4% of the time. Okay. Next, I have to calculate my expected value. Okay. So I'm going to use this section up here in order to do expected value so I can make it a little larger and you can see it. Okay. So in 80 tries, she's going to earn 0 points. Well, I could add or sum up 0 80 times, but that takes too long. I'm going to use multiplication. So I'm going to say that 80 times 0, she scores 100 points. Or she scores 0 points, excuse me. 80 times out of 100, she scores 0. Okay? Then she scores 1 point 16% of the time. Okay? So I'm going to take 16 out of 100 times, and I'm going to multiply that by 1. And then 4% of the time, she scores 2 points. So in my average, I'm going to add that. So 4% of the time, she scores 2 points. Okay? So remember, I said it was the sum of all the possibles, and I have to divide by 100. So I'm going to take all of this and divide by 100. Okay? When I do that in my calculator, I get a decimal. I get 0.24. Okay? And that is the number of points she would be expected to score in a one-on-one free throw situation. So what that means is every time she steps up to the line, they would expect her to score 0.24 points. Okay? It's kind of an odd figure. What it really means is that she'd only score a point like 1 out of every 4 tries, since this is close to 25% or 0.24. So that's what it means, okay? And that's what we'd expect, right? If she's a 20% free throw shooter, we expect that she's rarely going to score a point. So that makes sense, okay? Let's try the gotta check. So the gotta check is now to try Nishi's percentage from yesterday. So she was a 6% free throw shooter. So we're going to try hers next. Pause the video. First, use your area model to find your percentages, then sum them up and find the expected value. Okay, let's give this a shot. So yesterday, we found Nishi's percentages, and you can find them again using an area model if you want, but we found out that she'd score 0 points 40% of the time. She'd score 1 point 24% of the time. And she would score 2 points 36% of the time. Okay, so that was from yesterday, or like I said, you can make an area model and you could do it again. Okay, so now let's find her expected value. So remember, the expected value is going to be the sum over 100. So 40% of the time, so 40 times out of 100, she'll score 0 points. Then 24 times out of 100, she'll score 1 point, so we'll multiply that by 1. And 36% of the time, she will score 2 points, so I'll multiply 36 by 2, and that's all out of 100 because we're using percentages, and we're thinking about that as 100 tries. Okay? If I plug this into my calculator and calculate this, this gives me 0.96 as my value. So her expected value is 0.96 points every time she steps up to the free throw line. And that is a lot better, right? Because 0.96 is pretty close to, or it's approximately 1 point. So what we can expect is, okay, over the course of time, every time she's in a one-on-one free throw situation, she'll score 0.96 or approximately 1 point every time she stands up to that line. Okay, interesting, right? but definitely a lesson in basketball statistics. Okay, so your homework for this evening is to try page 86, numbers 20 to 21, and your bell ringer in 3 sentences, page 91, number 40. Okay, have a great Thursday. See you tomorrow.